If you're between the ages of 55 to 65 with 500,000 to 2 million in assets and retiring in the next 1 to 2 years, this checklist shows 3 things that prevent costly mistakes. The withdrawal order that lowers taxes, when Roth conversions can make sense, and which spouse should claim Social Security first, plus investments, Medicare, estate planning, and much more. I'm Tom, a certified financial planner at GT Wealth, and we implement this so you don't have to micromanage your money. All right, so let's go through this list, starting with your income in retirement, because this is what your entire plan will be built around. So start with the guaranteed paychecks. These are the steady paychecks that don't change when the market does. So things like Social Security, pensions, or annuities. We always start here because these are your guaranteed sources of income. So think of it like your foundation, the money that shows up every single month, no matter what. For most families, this is what covers the essential bills like housing, food, insurance, and healthcare. Once your essentials are covered first by guaranteed income, we look at the gap. That's things like travel, hobbies, gifts, or taxes, and that's where your investment accounts start to come in and play a role. Now, that might be your 401k, IRA, brokerage accounts, or a Roth IRA, but the key is that we don't want to pull too much from investments when the market's down, especially when the market's down. We use a structured plan to pull from the right bucket at the right time. Now, when it comes to withdrawals, there's a smart order to follow, and this is one of the biggest mistakes people make when they try to do it themselves. Generally, you'll pull first from your taxable accounts, then your tax-deferred accounts like 401ks and IRAs, and then from your Roth last, because Roth money grows tax-free and can help you stay in a lower tax bracket for a longer period of time. But here's where it gets tricky. Your withdrawal order can change depending on your tax bracket and Medicare's IRMA rules. So if you make too much income in any given year, Medicare can charge you extra premiums even if you didn't realize you crossed that line. So a good withdrawal plan isn't just about getting income, it's about keeping more of it after taxes and hidden costs. Next is deciding when to take Social Security. If you're married, this is a joint decision. Sometimes it makes sense for one spouse to claim early while the other delays to age 70 to lock in a higher benefit. Now, remember, if you claim early at 62, you'll get smaller checks for the rest of your life. If you wait until full retirement age or even age 70, those checks grow about 8% for every year you delay. But it's not always about the math. Health and lifestyle often are a big player and part of the decision in this process. If you have health concerns or simply want to enjoy retirement sooner, sometimes it's worth taking it earlier. The key is making the decision with a plan and not guessing. So that's the income foundation. Know what's guaranteed, plan how to fill the gap, pull from the right accounts, and make smart Social Security choices. And this is exactly what we model for our clients, the right mix of guaranteed income, investments, and tax efficiency so you can live your life without micromanaging your money. Now that you know where your income will come from, let's talk about how to keep your money working for you, because retirement isn't the end of investing. It's just a different stage. When you hear the word diversify, it simply means not putting all your eggs in one basket, right? I'm sure many of you have heard that before. That means spreading your money between US companies, international markets, and different types of investments. Now, we often use mutual funds or ETFs, otherwise called exchange traded funds, instead of individual stocks, because they give you instant diversification without having to pick winners. Inside your retirement plan, you can think of it as having 2 main buckets. First is the growth bucket. That's your long-term money meant to keep up with inflation and last 20 to 30 years. And then there's the stability bucket. This is the cash and bonds that cover your short-term needs and protect you when the market dips. That balance is what keeps retirees from panicking during big market swings. Rebalance your accounts once or twice a year. You'll want to check your mix of investments and bring it back in line. This is called rebalancing. Here's the simple way to think about it. When one part of your portfolio grows faster than the rest, it becomes too big. So you sell a little of the winners and buy more of what's lagging behind. That's literally how you buy low and sell high. It's a disciplined process that keeps your risk steady and prevents you from emotionally reacting especially when fear headlines start coming out of the media when the market goes crazy. And if you're working with an advisor, this can be done automatically so you're not constantly checking your accounts. Asset location, more trading in IRAs, hold tax efficient holdings in brokerage accounts. So, this is something most people overlook, asset location. And that's where you hold each investment. Some accounts are better for trading, and others are better for sitting tight. For example, your IRA or 401k is tax deferred, so you can trade or rebalance as much as you want without having to pay taxes right away in those accounts. But in your regular brokerage account, every time you sell something, it can create a taxable gain. So in those accounts, you want to hold tax efficient investments. So things like index funds, ETFs, or stocks you plan to hold on to for a long time. This is called asset location, and it's a small detail that can save you thousands in taxes over time. So the goal isn't to chase returns at this point, especially in retirement. It's to build a system that steadily grows, protects what you've earned, and uses taxes wisely. This is what we design for clients, the right mix of growth, safety, and efficiency, so your investments support your lifestyle and not the other way around. All right, now let's talk about one of the biggest levers in retirement planning, taxes. Because at this stage, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. And taxes are where most retirees lose control without ever realizing it. So you want to plan RMDs early to avoid bracket creep and taxable Social Security surprises. So if you never heard the term RMD, it just means required minimum distributions. They are the government's way of saying you've had tax deferred money long enough. Now it's time to start paying taxes on that money. Those withdrawals, specifically from 401ks and traditional IRAs, start at age 73 or 75, depending on your birth year, and they're fully taxable as income. If you wait until the last minute, the amount you're forced to pull can be quite large, very huge numbers, and that can push you into a higher tax bracket or make more of your Social Security become taxable. And that's why we mean by bracket creep, slowly drifting into higher tax brackets without planning for it. So by mapping out your RMDs years ahead, you can smooth those withdrawals over time and avoid getting hit with a surprise tax bill later. Now, here's a sneaky one most people don't see coming, and it's called IRMA. And that stands for Income Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. Basically, when you're on Medicare, everyone pays a monthly premium. But if your income goes above certain levels, even by $1, you can get bumped into a higher tax bracket and pay hundreds more per month for Medicare. These are called IRMA cliffs. So even something small, like a big Roth conversion, or maybe you sell an investment, those can push your income up for that year and raise your Medicare costs. That's why we track income carefully for clients to make sure smart tax moves don't accidentally trigger higher premiums. So taxes in retirement, they're not really about tricks or finding loopholes. They're about timing, knowing when to take money, how much to convert, and how to stay under key income limits. That's what turns a good retirement plan into a great one. Now let's move into estate planning. And I know this part can sound intimidating and most people don't like talking about estate planning all the time, but really it's just about making life easier for the people you love and care about. This isn't just about big estates or setting up fancy trusts. It's about clarity, control, and avoiding potential chaos later down the road. Now, the first step is to make sure your will, your powers of attorney, and any trusts you've created are all up to date. These are the documents that make sure your wishes are carried out, who gets what, who can make decisions if you can't, and how your estate will be handled. If you don't have them, or maybe they're outdated, it can cause major delays in probate. That's the court process your family would have to go through to settle your estate. Now, in some states, probate is quick and inexpensive, and in others, it's a long, public, and drawn-out process that can cost a lot of money. So for many families, having a simple revocable trust can help everything transfer smoothly and privately. The goal is not to overcomplicate things. It's to keep your plan current and clear and to make sure it's aligned with what your wishes are and where you want your money to go. The next step is what I call your beneficiary audit. Every year or two, look at who you have listed on your retirement accounts, life insurance policies, and even your brokerage accounts that have transfer on death designations. Now, this is really important because those forms override your will. So even if your will says one thing, the person listed on your account is the one who receives the money. I can't tell you how many times I've seen old beneficiaries from decades ago still listed for life insurance policies or retirement accounts. It could be an ex-spouse, a parent who passed away, or sometimes no one at all is listed. So this one simple review can save your family months of headaches and thousands in legal costs. This last one is incredibly practical but often overlooked. Create what's called a family letter. It's not a legal document, it's a simple guide for your spouse or family if something ever happens to you. It should include things like account logins, key contacts, insurance policies, where to find important paperwork, etc. In many families, one person handles the finances, right? This might be you if you're watching this video on YouTube. And if that person passes away, the other spouse is suddenly left trying to figure out where everything is. And it's not fun, and it could be very, very stressful. A family letter turns a stressful situation into a manageable one, right? It's an act of love and responsibility for your family. It's not something morbid. I know it's not fun to create or put together, but it's something that gives your family peace of mind. So estate planning isn't just about passing down money. That's how a lot of people often view it. It's more about clarity and compassion, right? It's making sure your hard work transitions not only smoothly, but without confusion or family conflict. Next up is insurance. And while it's not the most exciting part of the planning process, it's one of the most important for protecting everything that you've built. Think of insurance as your financial safety net. It doesn't grow your wealth, but it certainly protects it. Now, a lot of people buy life insurance early in their careers to protect their family, maybe pay off their mortgage or replace income if something happens. But once you're nearing retirement, the question suddenly turns or becomes, do you still need it? If your kids are grown, the house is paid off, and your spouse would be financially secure from your retirement accounts, you might not need as much coverage or any at all, right? But if your goal is to leave money to kids or grandkids, or maybe to offset taxes on an inheritance, life insurance can still serve a great purpose. Now, here's the difference in simple terms between these types of policies. The most common is term insurance, and this is like renting, right? This is like renting coverage. It's cheaper, great for temporary needs, but it ends after a set number of years. Then there's permanent insurance, or sometimes called whole life insurance, and this is like owning. So it costs more, but it stays in place for your entire life and can even be part of an estate or tax plan. The right choice depends entirely on your goals and not what an insurance company is selling. Next is long-term care insurance, or LTC. This is the coverage that helps pay for care if you ever need help with daily activities. So this would be things like bathing, dressing, or living in an assisted facility. You basically have three choices when it comes to this. One, you can buy traditional long-term care insurance. Two, you can self-insure, meaning you set aside money over the years to cover the future care and the cost. Or number three, you use what's called a hybrid policy that combines life insurance with long-term care benefits. Your health plays a big role here in which one of those will be the best one for you. The longer you wait, the fewer options you'll have, and it gets more expensive with age. Now, not everyone needs long-term care insurance, but everyone should have a plan for how they'd handle that cost if it came up. The last piece is liability protection. And this is where umbrella insurance comes in. If you own a home, if you own a bunch of cars or significant assets, real estate, a couple vacation homes, or maybe you own apartment buildings, whatever, this adds an extra layer of protection above your home and auto policies. So if someone sues you after an accident, you're covered for amounts that go beyond the regular policy limits. It's surprisingly affordable, often just a few $100s a year for an extra $1 million of coverage. Now, while you're at it, It is also smart to shop your home and auto insurance every couple of years too. The rates change, and it's one of the easiest ways to save some money without reducing protection. So, insurance is essentially the foundation because it's making sure that one event, whether that's an accident, a health issue, or even just bad timing, doesn't throw off your entire retirement plan. Now, when people think about retirement, most focus on investments and taxes, but the real heartbeat of your plan is going to be cash flow. Cash flow drives everything. Knowing what's coming in and what's going out, and making sure it supports the life you and your family want to live. So before you retire, your cash flow usually looks pretty predictable. Paychecks come in, you're saving for retirement, paying off debt, maybe helping your kids. And after retirement, the picture starts to change. Your spending goes through what's called the retirement spending smile. And here's what that means. In your first few years, spending is usually higher. You're traveling, you're enjoying yourself, doing projects, checking things off your bucket list, you're having fun. Then as we move over, it starts to dip during your mid-retirement years when life starts to slow down. But later, healthcare costs tend to rise again, which brings that spending curve back up. By planning around that smile curve, you can enjoy retirement without the constant fear of overspending or the fear of running out of money. And that's what we model for every client, not just the numbers, but the reality of what their lifestyle would actually look like. The next step is to plan for your big rocks, those large one-time or occasional expenses that can sneak up and throw off your budget if you don't plan for them. That might be major travel in the first few years of retirement. Maybe that could be a kitchen remodel, a new car, or healthcare coverage before Medicare that starts at 65. What we call the gap years. These are the things that make retirement meaningful, right? Travel, freedom, comfort, but we want them built into the plan, not be surprises that force you to pull too much from your investments all at once. So in your retirement cash flow, we always separate everyday living costs from those bigger experiences because it keeps your plan flexible and more realistic. And even in retirement, you still need an emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of living expenses in a high yield savings account gives you breathing room when life happens. A roof repair, a big medical bill, or the market takes a downturn. The key is to keep it liquid, safe, and easy to access, not buried in an investment account. That's your personal buffer so you never have to sell investments at a bad time. So cash flow planning is about more than just spreadsheets, right? It's not always about the numbers. It's about designing how your money will support your actual lifestyle. And when we build a plan, we don't just tell you if you can retire, right? We show you how to use your money with confidence, month by month, year by year. Next, we'll talk about debt. Now, when it comes to retirement, debt is one of the biggest stress points for most people. And the good news is, it's also one of the easiest things to control with the right plan. The first step is simple. List every debt you have, credit cards, car loans, student loans, and your mortgage. And once you see it all in one place, you'll quickly notice where the biggest pain points are. Focus on paying off high interest debt first, especially credit cards or anything above 6 to 7%, because that's guaranteed savings. There's no investment in the world that safely beats paying off high interest debt. And the ultimate goal is to retire debt free. Now, when you head into retirement without those monthly payments hanging over you, your entire plan becomes lighter, your income lasts longer, and you sleep better at night. Now, the big question for a lot of people is, should you pay off the mortgage or keep investing? And the answer is, it depends on your goals and cash flow, to be honest. So yes, there is a math perspective and standpoint there. Sometimes investing the money can lead to a higher return. But from a lifestyle standpoint, having your home paid off often brings more peace and flexibility than chasing an extra percentage point of returns. It's not always just about the numbers, right? It's about how it'll make you feel, when you wake up knowing your house is completely yours. Now, for most of us, that comfort often wins, and that's perfectly okay. Financial planning isn't just about maximizing your wealth, right? It's about maximizing your freedom too. So the rule is simple: eliminate bad debt first, decide on your mortgage with intention, and head into retirement with as little financial baggage as possible. That's how you'll build stability and confidence no matter what happens with the markets. One of the best parts of retirement planning is the ability to give back, right? To family, to causes you care about, or to your community. But just like everything else, giving works best when it's planned. So let's talk about annual gifts. Every year, the IRS lets you give a certain amount to someone without triggering any taxes or extra paperwork. For 2025, that amount is $19,000 per person or $38,000 per person if you're married and giving together. That means you can gift that much to each child, to each grandchild, or anyone you want, rather, and it doesn't even need to be reported. It's a simple way to pass wealth to the next generation while you're still here to watch them enjoy it. And by staying under those annual limits, you avoid what's called gift tax reporting, which keeps everything clean and super simple. So before you write those big checks or before you transfer any money, know the limits and make sure the gifts fit comfortably inside your plan. The next giving strategy is all about donating smarter, not just bigger. Instead of writing a check to your favorite charity, consider donating appreciated stock, especially investments that have gone up in value. Now, by doing that, you get a double benefit. You avoid paying capital gains tax on the growth, and you still get a full charitable deduction for the value of the gift. And if you want flexibility to take that deduction now, but decide where to give it later, a donor advised fund or a DAF can be a great option. And you can think of it like your personal charitable account. You can contribute, get the deduction right away, and then recommend grants to your favorite organizations over time whenever you like, while it actually stays invested. It's one of the simplest ways to be strategic with generosity while still making a big impact. So in the end, a well-structured giving plan helps your money create meaning. It helps reduce taxes and leave a lasting legacy for the people and causes that matter most to you. Moving on to your team, retirement planning isn't something you have to tackle alone. And honestly, many shouldn't, especially if you have complex situations. Once your finances start to get more complex, multiple accounts, investments, taxes, estate plans, it's time to build a trusted team around you. As your life and wealth grow, so does your complexity. That's when having the right experts on your side can make a huge difference. So your CFP, that's a certified financial planner. They look at the big picture, income, investments, taxes, and cash flow. Then there's your CPA, certified public accountant. They handle the detailed tax strategy, so what you report, what you deduct, and how to legally reduce your tax bill. And then there's your attorney, who makes sure your estate plan and legal documents match your wishes and protect your family. When these three work together, you get a coordinated plan instead of disconnected advice where everyone is working in their own silo and not talking with each other. So it's not necessarily about having more people, it's about having the right people who communicate so everything stays aligned. Now, once your team is in place, meet with them regularly, at least twice a year, in my opinion. Your situation changes, tax laws change, and the markets change, so your plan has to adapt as well. A mid-year check-in is a great way to do some tax planning and Roth conversions, while an end-of-year review helps fine-tune income, investments, and estate strategies before the calendar resets. And don't underestimate how often laws shift, right? We've experienced this, just recently with the one big beautiful bill, right? Especially around taxes and retirement rules. What was smart last year might not be the best move today. That's why staying proactive is really important. And finally, we'll finish with a few small but powerful habits that keep your financial plan organized and secure. These are the things that don't take long but can save you a lot of stress later. First, make sure you're keeping an eye on your credit. Even in retirement, identity theft and fraud are on the rise, folks, and it usually starts small. Check your credit report at least once a year and set up alerts on your credit cards so you're notified right away if there's unusual activity. A quick email or text alert can help you catch issues before they seriously turn into really big problems. It's simple and it protects the financial foundation you've worked so hard to build. Next, use a password manager, something like LastPass or Dashlane, to store all your logins in a secure spot. I use LastPass, and basically it just keeps everything encrypted and organized so you or your spouse don't have to remember dozens and dozens of passwords for every account you have, or have to refer to all the little notes and sticky notes on your computer, right? And lastly, keep learning and updating your plan. Financial planning isn't a one-time event. It's something that evolves with your life. The rules change, your goals change, and your money should change with them. That's exactly what we do for our clients. We review, adjust, and guide the plan so they can focus on living instead of managing spreadsheets. So that's the full simple retirement planning checklist. Pretty in-depth, but 10 key areas that can help you move into retirement with confidence. Now, if you found this helpful, but don't want to go through it all on your own, this is exactly what we do every day at GT Wealth. We build and manage these plans so you can enjoy retirement without having to micromanage your own money. So thanks for watching. If you want to schedule a quick strategy call to see how your plan stacks up, click the link below the video. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.